Hey, how you doing, traders? How was the holiday? Anything good? Getting ready for the next one. So let's get into it. Hey, I just wanted to go over the anatomy of a 3-to-1 setup. It's straightforward. It's easy to read. It's on every chart. It's how the market grows and condenses and grows and moves throughout the day. Um, and so what we're looking for is our first step is the impulse leg, which is just um, a series of bars that are just taking out other structures. Sometimes they're within the structure, sometimes they're out. As you see more and more of them, you'll understand that there's variations. And you want to watch for a shelf. So we have a buyer here, and we have a buyer here, and then we look for a wash. And what that means is the shelf, these guys, these buyers lost their positions, and now they have to reposition, and that's how it comes into our entry in a moment. But then it has to go up and it has to retest the high of the impulse leg. Now this can have different variations as well. The more you see, the more you start to understand. So you have to practice this a lot. And once you see the new high, you can start to look for where were the last group of buyers who got stopped out, and then measure up a 3-to-1 trade with a proper stop below the wash, and then a target up near the other top of the swing, wherever it might be. If you have a deeper swing, you might go 5-to-1, 6-to-1. The fundamentals are the same. And as you can see here, we get out rate and time, and then the market pulls right back down and then starts to take off. So this is what we're looking for. Impulse leg, a shelf, a wash, a retest of the high, and then the entry behind the wash where you're safe, and hopefully you can execute a 3-to-1 trade with very little risk. And I'm about a 30 to 40% trader with a win rate, but because I do 3-to-1 trades, it keeps me profitable. And that's just one of the techniques that, out of all the techniques you can find, I think I landed on after understanding and taking lots and lots of different indicators, and I don't know. You go through the whole process, and then if you stick long enough with it, you'll find one that really works. But I think this is pretty simple. And I was gone the last couple of days, so I just want to take a minute. I haven't even looked over this chart, but because of looking for impulse legs and looking for 3-to-1 trades, it's going to be pretty easy to see. I see an impulse leg here coming up out of this V. Price is making a new high. So, it pulled back. There's this gap, and then it comes down, tries, and then it does another wash. This is the kill zone, or resistance, or support, however you phrase it. And then you have the pressure cooker, where you're going to see resistance. And this is on all the swings as they move through the market. And that's what you can use once you understand it, on how to get into trades and how you can, find yourself, at step, 4. You have one more step to go before you're at the entry. If it's still going up, I mean, this started at 9 and ended at about 9:30. So, if you're scalping the market, you want to get in and out, you can, however you manage that, there's all kinds of things you can do. You can take 2-to-1 trades this way. You can do 1-to-1 trades this way. But your win rate is going to tell you what percentage of winners, 3-to-1s, 4-to-1s. I'll grab a 6-to-1 if I can, just to kind of help with the numbers. But that if you see this here, you're okay, impulse is up, right? There's an impulse over here. Now it doesn't take out anything. Oh, come on, sorry. And like I said before, the swing, the impulse doesn't necessarily have to take out the whole swing. it's got to climb up out of it. And so but these guys all got wiped out. This guy here, he lost his position. This guy lost his position. Look at that big bar taking him out. But it runs into this little pressure cooker as well. So like on the major swing here, that's the major swing. And you see all this action inside the swing, and then it took out the swing. So now you know that this swing high confirms this swing low because it took out that guy. So now this is the new swing that we're working on. I just had that marked. And then, using these 5 steps. All right, what's next? Right? You have draw your kill zone or your pressure cooker. I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff. You see a shelf in here. See, it's not, when you see enough of them, go find 100 of these guys. Go find a whole bunch of these things that you can just see clear as a bell, and, no fancy colors, nothing, I just drew that. And yeah, I've seen a lot of it, but that's how that's how simple this is. Now, it's not my time frame. There's a lot of stuff going on, but that's the basics of what I just, I've got over here. I got your impulse leg right there, your shelf right here. You got your wash right here, and then your retest and the pullback for your entry, and you can go. So we look at the next impulse leg. I've got my impulse. The shelf, can you see them? Just lined up right in there. Now, we're coming into 7 o'clock of trading, where I start trading. There was some news from this big bar here. You can tell they took them up and took them down, took out the low. But even in here, we have our setup, because you have a wash right here, and you can see the hard down and the hard up, and this one here has a hard down, but it doesn't really have a hard up. It's a little different than that one. This one's really clean. This one's a little dirty, but I'm still, not my time. I wouldn't trade this time, but I can see this bigger piece here. Why wouldn't I do that? The wash, as you'll see, can hide inside the buyers. They're kind of, and what gives it away is the new high, right? So the impulse goes up, it's got a shelf, it hits the shelf, doesn't take them out like we like to see. So, maybe you're like, I don't know if I like this one, but then it goes up here and it comes back and it gets a reaction off that. And I'm just showing you that this trade is still, and I'd like to be down below. I don't want to be on that line because of this. But I draw, the last little chunk, and maybe you tighten it up a little bit. And the other cool thing is that this impulse out doesn't have to go really, really far to make it a 3-to-1 trade, So, again, it can show up in different areas, and we want to be able to see them in the different types of spots, because, let's say you only have a little bit of time to trade. You see this here, and it pulls back down, and this is brutal. This is why we don't trade at 7. So you wouldn't be involved in this, but you get cleaned out pretty quick on this bar. That's what this thing did. It just took out all these orders. People are doing the same thing. All those traders out there, right? You guys are one of them now. They all got cleaned out, and then it tries, and then you're frustrated, and then it starts to go. It doesn't take out this one, and so I'm like, okay, let's get, Let's get into, the swings. And I'm looking for the big swing. I'm looking for the little swing. I just want to be going the right way, right? So we have the impulse here. We have the shelf. Get rid of that blue line so we can work on this. And then we have the wash. Nice clean wash with the retest on the back side there. And then we have our targets down here. And that's a pretty big piece. I like it a little bit cheaper. But maybe you say, okay, well, I'm going to hide behind this guy here and just say, you know what, let it hit. If it hits, it's great. If not, boom, I'm done. It doesn't hit you. So you go up to the next one and you just drag your little tools over. You see the shelf right there. You can see it before I even talked about it, right? Just you're looking at the next one over here. You're like, well, there's a shelf here and there's a shelf here. You start to see these things as they pop out. You start to see them as they pop out. And this is a little guy, but that's not, but it still has, see how it kind of cuts into it? But you know that if once you see this, there's going to be a reaction up here, right? You see this part here, up, impulse, pulls back. Is there? I mean, I'm getting away from this one, but you see what I'm saying here? Like and this is a perfect illustration of why you want to have your stop right behind the wash, or not right behind the wash, but down to the wash. Because if you're here, if you want to say, well, I don't want to spend that much money. If you don't want to spend that much money, then size down or only look for trades that are within your budget. That'll work for you. You got to manage your money and understand your risk position. Over trading and over leveraged are the two things that run people out of this business. So I only take maybe 3 trades, sometimes 4 a day, depends on how I'm feeling, where I'm at. But that's about it. I have a number that I can't lose more than. And usually, if I can get a 3-to-1 trade in 1 or 2 hours in the session, I'm done for the day. I don't try to crank out. I see so many of these things all the time. I don't try and crank out. I try and find better trades to do than trying to crank out more and more trades, because I know that doesn't work for me either, and that's over trading. But just guys, here we are going back to this impulse leg, this shelf. You got your wash, you got your test. Now, if you might, I kind of fudge it sometimes. My mentor buys them down here because he knows that there's going to be action into the wash. And I don't know if that would be, but look at how much better his risk position is. His 3-to-1 is inside that there because he went on the wait a little longer. But I understand you want to be in the trade, you want to have stuff going on, and it makes you feel like you're doing something. So, but this is just protecting yourself, and understand that you're going to risk, 1 contract for 3 contracts, and whatever that is, and however you measure that. So then, boy, doesn't really hit, does it? Not on that first one. You got to wait. So that's frustrating. If I see this, I sometimes will just, cut my risk in half or something like that. I mean, I've been stopped out there because I've been I didn't want to lose, or I didn't want to, really, that's what it was. I didn't want to lose. But here, I'm starting to be a little more stubborn and just hold it and say, take me out. Or if I get to a certain, number up here, I'll, if I feel better about this, I might start moving it into, where the day is, where I'm at, how much time I have, am I able to, be in front of the computer. That's just understanding myself. Certainly I want to maximize this as much as possible, but if I see this too, I might just come in under here and just put my, and I just move it up with the wash is the other kind of way to look at it. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own thing. This is just working for me. So, but that one takes a while to hit. If you come up right under the belly of it, give it a little room. Yeah. You'll get paid, you know. And if you're up here and you want your money, take your money. Don't say I have to be this, I have to be that. If you do this 3 days in a row, and you take 2.8 to 1 or whatever it is, be fine with it. Be happy with it, because I know that once price hits up here, there's a reaction, and that's what we're buying, right? We're buying the reaction of that new high. So I don't want to lose money either. I'm not, but I take my hits. I get stubborn. I know that if I hold here and I don't move, eventually I'll get paid if it's going my way. I've had these turn on me and go south, and then I, curse myself for not being more protective of my profit or of my position and my profit. Because I've let these things, walk away from the table, and I just watch my money go. I'm like, oh, maybe it's going to come back. Nope, it just takes me out. If you trade long enough, all this stuff happens to you. So, and then we just follow the next impulse leg, right? I didn't catch how many of these trades, are you, no, it didn't hit. That one hit. So that's one. And if you missed it on the first little bite, and that is, going back to what we were talking about, that is frustrating. It comes here, it's up here. And then, so you got to figure out how you want to handle that. And then, but let's say you break out a stop even or break even, and heck, I don't know. Let's say you missed it and you're there and you see that new high and it comes back down, right? Now you have a little bit better of a wash, and it comes up, and it gives you a stop as well. That's a pretty clean wash inside it. Yeah, somewhere in there. It's a 3-to-1, right? So that's one you could have got. Moving later on in the morning. Shelf. Kind of shelf. Somewhere in there. Buyers. Takes them out, washes them. Yeah, okay, that's a shelf. Doesn't give us a strong retest on the backside, right? You guys are already looking over there for this here. And if you were confused and you wanted to buy this, thinking that this was going to be, if you bought it here, you're like, oh, wait, yeah, I've bought those right there. And I try to go down under here. Maybe I'll hide under that. And then it just boom, out of there. It comes down. I take a little heat, and then it starts to take off. And then it just drops, eats you up. Hey, 30 to 40%, guys. I'm willing to take the hit, and I do very well by it because I don't change a lot. I take my 1-to-1s, I take the 3-to-1s, 4-to-1s, 6-to-1s, but I don't lose more than 1-to-1. I don't move my stop. I know how much I'm gonna, how many of those can I take? 1 or 2, maybe 3, something like that. I don't know. Depends on how much my contract or how many contracts I put on to. I don't know. I just follow the setup, guys. And then management is more of a personal thing, but the more you do, the more you'll understand, and the more you'll be able to see how you can put the puzzle together in a way that makes you money. See this one? See this wash right here? Inside that? I would, if I miss this, I kind of get, I don't change my time frame, but I change my view of what it is I'm looking at, because now I know that price is going in a certain direction and it's got room to grow, and this is where here comes a 5-to-1 trade. There's a 3-to-1. It might be a little farther than I thought it was, but see how far down you are in this, this thing here. You're coming up out of it, I should say. So then maybe a 3-to-1 would work. You want to tighten your stops up at the edges. And then, so that's 2. right? You missed one. Okay, I got two. Right, impulse, shelf. Actually, I have the shelf up there. Okay, so now that I kind of blew through that one kind of quick, didn't I? This is why it's good to practice. Now, if you're down here and you put your order right here, right, a little room there, you don't get hit. You fudge it a little bit, put it up. I don't know. Sometimes I do. I try. I know that this shorts it sometimes, and I'd rather take a little bit extra risk to get in. But I mean, I've had these come and I've missed them. So I'm not, saying that I would see that live. But what I do see is this here pulls back into something, right? And then this is kind of its own little wash. And, and this is just price reading, guys, like trying to, what got washed out and how is somebody going to get, back in, and reposition. And so, and I don't know if I'd see this one either, but now that I kind of have time to, no stress, no pressure, just chilling on a Sunday, looking at the market, getting ready for the week, I'm just like, okay, it shows up in different forms. This high is a big indicator that price is going to pull back. So it does make sense. And then I see another wash right here. And I start playing around with that idea. And then I see one right in here as I was looking at it. Price comes up, makes a little shelf, washes it out. Once you see this test of this after this, you're I'll just throw orders down here sometimes just to say, okay, let's see if it works. It does or it doesn't. And then you could, move this one over here and see that you have another wash, and maybe you can, it comes up, bounces off. So look at this like as an impulse, bounces off there, and it just, hits these sellers. The buyers pick it up down here. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. Try it out. Do 100 of them. I'm usually a little bit, I see this guy here, and whoever had stops right behind here got stopped out with that bar there, because they don't have their stops down here. And there's another 3-to-1. So, I just get excited about it because it's just, I just start following. I don't need all that other information. I know that I'm near the top of that other swing over there. So it's in my head that there's going to be, a pullback. Sellers are start selling their positions and, trying to buy them up down the road. Don't see a lot. The downside ones are a little bit tricky for me. Because I'm fighting an impulse leg up. So I'm looking at it in two different ways, because now I see a shelf here. And this is just one of the challenges that come up in this business, because you could see it both ways. And this works. You've got the impulse leg down, right, which washed this guy. That washed, these buyers. Mind you, it's not really deep on the swing. So for your Fibonacci guys there, it's 50%. But it feels short. But like this one's better. But this one, it just doesn't feel, but it works, right? It works. If you're playing to the upside, you're going to get cleaned out. You buy that one there, Put your stop right there. It has a little, takes off a little bit, pulls up, because remember your impulse leg here, your shelf does the retest. I kind of skipped a few steps. And then you enter on that bar, and you could manage it and say, okay, I'm just going to cut my risk in half. And then take the whole hit, or you just say, okay, let's see what happens, and you get stopped out. But if you're playing the other side, you say, well, geez, it is near the top, and I know that there's some sellers that are going to step up, and it's easy to say this in hindsight. I get it. I'm not like clairvoyant, but like I where am I at? I got too many of these things going on. I'm kind of behind the stop here, and that doesn't work either. But you can manage it. Maybe you take your money when you come down here, because that you're fighting an impulse, and you say I want to do a 2-to-1 on the south when I'm selling, or a 1-to-1 when I'm selling, when I'm going against the main impulse leg. I change it up. I don't know. And you can talk yourself into trades. You can talk yourself out of money all the time. And so the best way to do it is have a system, a plan, so then you can say, okay, that plan sucks. But on all of these impulse legs, I'm going to enter, or I'm only going to take ones that do this or that, or however you decide to do it. I'm just pointing you in the right direction, that these setups are good trades that happen over and over and over again. All right, so I'm going to just jump out of this here and just see if I can draw it up to the upside. I got these sellers here. Now look at the time, end of the market, end of the day. So we're not trading. And this is why, because look at how weird this thing gets, right? It's just, you're not trading, after 12:30, turn it off, close your business. You're a day trader. I try to get out between 11 and 12. But again, I see stuff all the time. So the hardest thing for me to do is not take every trade I see, right? Getting in here, if I'm down, and I need a couple bucks to just cut my risk in half, or make, and I might do something like that, which is, I mean, it works. So, but sometimes it don't work either. The more you do, the more aware you're going to get, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So you have a impulse leg, you have a shelf. We have a little wash here. So we have that one. Maybe you got stopped out on that and say, okay, well, I'm going to take a minute and see what happens if it shows itself up again. And you see this one here, this bar gets you in, comes up here, you got a little shelf, you get in here, your stops are down somewhere in here. And that would be a long day. That's hard trading, man. That's why we don't trade after hours. That's brutal, dude. That guy, they got popped. And then they bottom up and took him up again. That was over and over and over and over again. I didn't trade Thursday or Friday. I was out of town. But, you can see the impulse leg. Really, the wash gives it away. Right? It's a little different. It's a little bit different. It's not as, I don't know how to say it, but, it's a little longer. It takes a little longer sometimes. But there's one. Next day. Impulse leg, wash, tiny little shelf. And I drew it from here. If I don't have a really good shelf, you can look at the base of where the price took off. See it launch up from here. You've got a coil. You have sellers right here. So you want to have a good stop up there. Maybe you you see this because there's sellers and there's sellers, and then finally it takes it out. I probably would have been there. Maybe if I came down a little bit, I don't know. It's, I I love it when I catch one like right at the last seller in town. That's the best. It's happened and I've missed them and it's frustrating and just know that it happens. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't go chasing, don't go buying this or selling that because you're selling right into buyers right here. So just sit back and relax, wait, be like, okay, I see the next impulse leg, and then I see a shelf come across. So now you're just drawing it out, waiting for your trade to show up. And I know the feeling. It's frustrating. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen to me. It does. Even today, today's trading. I get frustrated when I don't catch a trade or I make a simple mistake. The other thing is that when I'm trading a swing, I like to know which swing I'm trading. So if I'm looking at this, this is happening right now. I'm drawing this out, and I'm really just focused on this swing. I know there's stuff going on here. I know that I hit the high, so an impulse leg going down, taking out these guys, I'm good with. I try to fight that bias all the time, and it's something that the more you practice, the better you get at. Now this, we have a couple of, it's kind of just sellers are sitting here. I'm waiting for a pullback, maybe into here somewhere. This looks like a wash, right? And this is how you trade, guys. You read price. You start putting the dots together. There's only a couple things that are going to happen, right? It's going to impulse. It's going to wash. It's going to coil up and expand. It's a zoom retest. It takes these guys out and it retests the backside and then it goes. You could even, well, I don't want to get into it. So it starts falling off and it doesn't come back. And you could also say, and I do this too, Fibonacci guys, there's 50% of the swing right there. So, that isn't a bad place for price to land if it's pull back of the envelope kind of thing. Don't, I don't trade it, but I look for it. And then price comes down here. So then I say, well, maybe I missed. Is there? Yeah, that kind of looks like that kind of gives us a wash feel. It's 9 o'clock. Where's that? Right here. I don't know. Sold there. And then I guess what I'm saying is that now I'm looking at this line as, and maybe something up in here and just know that I could get just housed on that whole thing. But then it keeps going down. So I draw these out too, and I say, okay, is this a wash here? And then does it, can you play it like that? Yeah, you can. You understand that this is an impulse leg and there's not a shelf there, but the pressure's down. Sell with sellers, buy with buyers. That one works. It's not perfect. It's not like we look, the 5 steps, but it's the same concept, right? It goes down, there's a wash, sellers show up. If you have a stop behind here, you're wrong, so that's fine. But in this case, you're right. And I just keep following the impulse leg. If you're a scalper, you want to be in and out of the market as soon as you can. If you got this trade here, you were in at 9:03, you're out at 9:09. 6 minutes of action. Right? How many, and say you're good enough to see 2 of those a day, 3 of those a day. You don't want to spend a lot of time in front of the computer. You expend a lot of energy on this stuff. I know I do. If I've got a trade going on, I'm making sure that it's going the right way, and I start thinking about my risk, and I start thinking about do I move my stop? Do I do this? I need to leave it. All this stuff goes through your head. And the best thing to do is just put your orders in, leave them, and then post trade, autopsy. What are you going to do? Price comes back up here, hits us. Okay, so now we're in. We got our stop set up here, and we're just looking for price to make a new low to come back there. It pulls it. Oh, right now you're like, oh man, oh come on, you might be out on that one. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like you got stopped out. Oh gosh. Oh, and then you're definitely gone. So don't worry about it. It wasn't meant to be. And that's how you learn, man. Those are the ropes. Maybe this was where it was at, and this is your line here with a stop there. That's what I learned from that, is that what I made up. See, I made that up in my mind. That wasn't really that great of a stop. This one here is much better. That big hard down there. So, that's your entry there, and that's your proper stop. Now you're watching. Trading's hard, guys. Trading is hard. But you know what? Follow the impulse. Okay, it went up here, made a shelf here, and this side it worked, right? Wash. Even if your shelf was right there, it worked. Look at that. That's what I learned. I was on my bias got, and it wasn't really a bias as much as I was just following price, But I knew that nothing, that was, there's nothing there to wash. That's probably what I should have took away and said, there's no wash in this. But I get eager, I start to see things, and I can make stuff up, If you sold that line there, that's a trade. And why wouldn't you want to sell with these guys either? I don't know. A lot of ways to look at it. This side works too, right? And guys, I didn't even really, look at the market that much. I just was playing around, and I haven't been looking at the market for the last couple of days. So I just want to get tuned up and get ready for the week. I know what I'm looking for. I know what my size is. I know, what my hours are. I know all this stuff ahead of time, so I can focus on trading and just making sure that I'm not making those mistakes. I'm not over trading. I'm not, perfect day for me is to get one trade out of the chute that works 3-to-1, and then I can come back the next day. And I keep my eye on the market. I mean, I'm not, I'll take 2 trades, I'll do 2, no more than, unless it's just piping hot. Sometimes that happens. But I usually am not that good, and I know myself. So anyhow, wash there. This one doesn't pull back that far, does it? And then it goes up even more. Doesn't really give us it doesn't really do it. It's kind of weird. I'd probably miss that one. And then that's an impulse. See, guys, it's just over and over and over again. I'm just showing, there's no system here. I'm not selling anything. I mean, the only thing that I can say is that if you are a member of Patreon, you get fresh daily updates where I'm just posting this kind of stuff on, on the community post board, ideas, impulses I'm looking at, where I'm at in the process. Usually there's a morning update just to do something similar like this. And then, that's just, that breaks your heart, doesn't it? It hits you so close, so clean. Everything's there, everything is there. Step 1, impulse. Step 2, shelf. Beautiful little box, that big bar there, that big heart up, wow, it's great. Sometimes, you're going to clean down. I don't know. Just the downside seems to be more at the bottom of the base is something I've observed. And I'm not saying it's 100%, but it's something I've observed. This takes out, and then that bar right there just, oof. Talk to you later. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. Trading's hard, guys. It's not like I've got a magic bullet. And then, just follow the impulse legs. just relax. You don't have to, get all amped up about any of this stuff. It's just, now it doesn't take anybody out really. And then price comes off. You say, okay, well, it went the other way. We're going down now, right? You got a swing here. Doesn't really take that out. Maybe you follow the little guy. Say, okay, I want to just, tighten up my time frame and tighten up, same thing. Impulse leg, pop. You got a line from over there. And price comes down. Gives us, a couple of ideas. Washes this out. Goes down. Hits here. Comes back up here. I don't know if I'd be that good. I don't know if I would have got that. I can't, I'd be like right here with like give me something like that. Try to, I would have just missed that. That's how it goes, man. And you only have so much energy for, 2 or 3 of these. You're not, you're not grinding away at every bar, every tick. You're just watching. It's going down. It's making lower lows, Took out this guy here. So we're going to see a reaction. Kind of have a little, coil here. And then it drops him off and picks him back up. So we're back up here where, and all we have here is these buyers got cleaned out and turned into sellers, and sellers are going to, try it again because right now it's going down. In my frame, this is all that's happening. I'm not even thinking about what's going on the left. I'm not even thinking about it. Because that's another thing that just gets my, clears up my mind, so I don't have to think about those things that. So if you put your orders in here, say you do want to take that trade, you're up here. You're up above this guy here. This is a little close, but this here is a wash, right, to the upside. See that up there, hard down. So that qualifies. And I'm coming off a low from over here. There's your impulse. There's your shelf. Takes out the low. Yeah, I'd take that trade. How'd they do? Price comes down. Hasn't committed yet. Hasn't committed. Oh, there you go. It's after hours. You're not trading anyways. All right, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day, great week, and we'll see what the market has to offer tomorrow. Have a good one.